Just 10 iterations of what I'm about to share with you will completely clean up the way you communicate. We may have an idea that's this great. You may be technically this brilliant at what you do at organizing and designing experiences. You may be technically this good. But if your ability to communicate is only this good, do you think people perceive you to be this good or this good? You are only as good as you can communicate. And one of the biggest illusions you'll ever experience in your life is when you see a public speaker or when you see a great communicator and you say, I could never do that. That looks impossible. The only reason it looks impossible is because you don't have a communication teacher's perspective. And again, the context for you is when you learn the ideas that you have, when you want to influence your teams to design new experiences, things they've never done before, you have to play your instrument well, or your ideas fall on deaf ears. Here's a very powerful technique. I did a TED Talk on this, and if those of you who want to look it up, the TED Talk is titled Creating the Most Influential You. But that TED Talk, I teach you a technique on how just 10 iterations of what I'm about to share with you will completely clean up the way you communicate. So here's the formula. Magicians use this to improve their showmanship. You can use this to improve your ability to communicate. You get your phone, you turn it on selfie mode, you place it on the table, you take a few steps back, you record yourself talking for at least 5 minutes. 5-minute recording, video and audio of yourself. Then you leave it for a day. Don't watch it straight away, you're too damn self-critical. Leave it for a day. Then when you watch it the next day, you watch it in a very specific way. You watch it 3 times in total. The first time when you review it, you watch it with the audio off. So just watch yourself visually, turn the sound off, watch yourself visually. And start to take notes about how you're communicating visually, which we're about to go into next. But just take some notes. So I've got my hands in my pockets, or I'm not moving, I'm crossing my arms. Take some notes. Take some notes. The second time you watch it this time with no visuals. Turn on the sound, put your phone down, and rate yourself on your rate of speech, your volume, your pitch, your tonality, and how often you pause. Take notes. I'm speaking too quickly. I'm not pausing at all. It seems like I don't breathe. Go through it. Take notes. And the last time you watch it together and look for consistency. Because you may sound really passionate, but if you look like this, then again it's conflicting. Look for the inconsistencies. Or if you look really passionate but you talk like this, it doesn't quite work. Look for these inconsistencies. Inconsistencies are what cause people to not trust the things we say. It's what causes people to not trust the things we say. When you sit down and talk to someone who's in trouble, often we feel the need to talk to help that person. No. And you shut up.
I'm curious from your perspective, the power of listening and what your wisdom would say around the power of listening.
I think it's the other unexplored territory that we don't explore in this workshop. But I fully believe in the power of listening, and I've researched it quite extensively. There's a wonderful book by Michael Gunbay. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's an incredible speaker and author and trainer and workshop person. But he has a book called The Coaching Habit. And have you read that?
I've heard of it.
Okay, I highly suggest you read that book if you want to improve your ability to listen. The Coaching Habit. And I'll share a couple of quick thoughts on it, but I'd love you to read his entire book and experience his wisdom and have him in your army. What's really powerful about the concept he teaches is that, I've read it at least 3 times now, is when you sit down and talk to someone who's in trouble, often we feel the need to talk to help that person. But he goes, no. The first thing you need to do is be very curious. And you must ask an open-ended question that allows them to go anywhere they want. Don't even ask what's wrong. But you ask the question, hey, tell me what's on your mind. And you shut up. And he goes, please just shut up after that. And when they talk, the next words that come out of your mouth when they stop is, what else? And they talk, and they stop, and you go, tell me more. And you let them take what he calls an emotional breath. And it's healing for people. It's healing for people who are going through problems. Where the first thing we all tend to do when someone's going through a problem is we give
advice. We immediately give advice. We never give people time to take an emotional breath. And that is hugely powerful if you want to coach someone through a difficult situation. That is the power of listening. By asking the right questions to give you the opportunity to listen, and Michael Gunbay is the soldier you need. He's like the one soldier that can end a war. But that's him. That's him, very powerful. So my thoughts are, it's very powerful, but it's something that there's better teachers out there for that. You play with volume more.
Okay.
Okay, volume, and one other thing is pausing.
Oh, pausing. Yeah. Okay.
Volume and pausing. So those are two things I'd like you to really play with. And I'd love you to play with the high end of volume. Okay? Because the moment that happens, volume brings you to life. Volume is the lifeblood that brings qualities into all the other areas. Tonality, rate, pitch, everything. Volume is the lifeblood of your voice. Okay? So play with volume and give me a couple of dramatic pauses.
Okay.
And drag it out until it feels uncomfortable. Okay? And the moment you add more volume like this, your facial expression comes to life, and what else came to life? Movement came to life. The body is connected to the voice is connected to the body. There's no crazy marketing technique you can do, there's no crazy AdWord campaign you can run. Until you are so amazing that they cannot ignore you, it will never take off. As a speaker, your product is your speech. And to me, a lot of the times people want to do these different things when they speak, but you must first have the right product before the market will see you. Because until you have the right product, you will be invisible. So you have to create something that they want. So to me, it's in the product creation phase that you've got to focus time on. Okay, one of my magician mentors said something wonderful. He said, Vin, if you really had magic abilities, it's impossible to keep you a secret. It's impossible. And what he was saying was from Steve Martin. You must be so good they can't ignore you. You must be so good they can't ignore you. And I say that because I want the responsibility to be on you. There's no crazy marketing technique you can do, there's no crazy AdWord campaign you can run. Until you are so amazing that they cannot ignore you, it will never take off. Because we live in such a crowded world now where everyone does want to be a speaker. So you have to become so good that they can't ignore you. And that requires relentless hard work. So to me, go back to the heart of it. Be so good they can't ignore you. And I'll tell you again the quote from Teller, the magician Teller, who says that magic is someone who spends more time on something than anybody else would reasonably expect. So again, how much time have you spent on crafting that keynote, delivering that keynote, polishing that keynote? And after you've done 50 iterations of that, then you now have something. Does that make sense? It's not a good answer in terms of, it's not sexy, it's not like, oh wow, that's easy. It's a slog. But then there's a price you've got to pay too. Because that obsessiveness and relentlessness has led me to, a couple of months ago, I found myself in a really crap spot where my wife, we sat down and she says, you always work. You never, and I was hiding in work. Because I no longer knew who I was. I no longer knew what I wanted in my life. Because I sat down to do my own vision board. We have a family vision board. But I don't have one. So she goes, why don't you work on your vision board? Yours, not for us, not for mum and dad, or my mum and dad, or your mum. No, you. And I sat there for over a day, and I couldn't put anything on it. And it freaked me out. It freaked me out. Because in pursuit of this relentlessness that I was trapped in, and Jason brought it up before, the price I paid is I lost a part of myself in the process. I work to live now, I've forgotten how to live to... I live to work, I've forgotten how to work to live. So again, just know that that's the level of relentlessness I went to. But it was at a sacrifice. Yeah, there was a sacrifice, and it was, I didn't live. I was there for my wife, I was there for my son, I was there for everyone, but I sacrificed myself. So please never go that far, okay? But please make sure that you understand the level of relentlessness that's involved. It's not easy, okay? It's a really hard industry. And I love this approach to life because no matter what I see in my life, it's not impossible, it's possible, there's a method. There's a bloody method to this, and I'll find it. I'm very strategical in my approach. I'm very much a magician in my head because whenever I see anything amazing, I don't think impossible. I'm like, there's a method behind the madness, and I'll find the method. And I love this approach to life because no matter what I see in my life, it's not impossible, it's possible, there's a method. There's a bloody method to this, and I'll find it. Because I'm the person who creates illusions, so I know there's a method. So again, you've got to be smart with this. To everything there is a blueprint. To everything there is a method behind the madness. Don't just do the obvious. Be the magician. Have the magician's mindset. And really be strategic and work out how things are done. Because that's how I kind of approach everything. And the way I do that is, if I don't know how to do something, I'll read 10 books on it. Whereas most people won't read 10 books on something. Most people will go, I don't know how to do that. I'll just ask someone for help. Well, I just don't know how to do it. But then this leads me to a story, which some of you may know this. I hope you don't get bored to death. But again, you heard that when I was in my mid-20s, I was in a lot of debt. And I'll never forget a conversation my dad had with me that stuck with me for a very long time. Even now, I remember it so vividly. I was sitting in my garage, overwhelmed by the debt, luckily having a very supportive wife, but just overwhelming debt. Could have bought 2 Ferraris. And my dad comes in, and he goes, "Stand up, boy." I'm like, okay, let's stand then. And he goes, "Do you know why you failed, boy?" I said, "Dad, why don't you tell me? Not in the mood, man. Come on, all right?" And he goes, "You failed because you have no soldiers in your army." And I said, "Dad, don't give me this Confucius shit right now, man. Not in the mood." And he goes, and he grabs a book. Can I just borrow your book? He grabs a book that I had on my desk, and he goes, "You're a silly boy. Look at this book. When you read a book, that author now stands behind you in an army willing to fight for any battle you call him or her to fight for. You've read 30 damn books in your life after university. You've got 30 bloody soldiers. I see less than 30 books on your book. You've read less than 30 books in your life, less than 30 soldiers, yet the battles you're fighting in life, you're versing an army of 500 soldiers. I'll give you this credit card. Mum doesn't know about it. It's got a $2,500 limit. Build your fucking army. It's not that you are not capable. You just don't know how to succeed at this point in your life. Build your damn army. I prolifically after that became an avid reader. So anything I didn't know how to do, I read a ton of books on that topic. Didn't know how to market online, read books on that topic. Didn't know how to be good at sales on a call, win the deal calls, read 4 or 5 sales books, maybe even more now. And I built my army. And there is definitely a huge correlation between the number of books read and the success people tend to achieve in their life. Absolutely. That's why you always hear CEOs read 50 books a year, 40 books a year, whatever the number is, right? There is a correlation between amount of knowledge in, which then influences the way you apply. Because more knowledge equals new ways of application. No knowledge means the same application over and over again with different dreams. And trying to achieve new things with the same old mind doesn't work. It's the definition of insanity. So again, does that kind of make sense? So whatever it is that I do, I find the formula from people who have done it before, and it costs $14.95 off Amazon. So when
Or the library.
Audible, yeah. Audible, exactly. Yeah.
Or you can get a library card.
Yes. Ultimate hack. There's a quote by Isaac Newton who says, "Stand on the shoulders of giants." And that's what I feel I'm doing when I read these books, is I'm standing on the shoulders of giants. So there's multiple books on how to build a keynote speaking career. And all you have to type to find them, Manny, is how to build a keynote speaking career books. And Google is your friend. And we're living in a world now where information has become so accessible that people no longer bother. And that is our advantage. So no matter what it is you want to do, my friends, people have already done what you want to do, and they've written books about what you wanted to do. There is even a book on how magicians become keynote speakers. It's called Keynote Speaking for Magicians. There's a book. Yes, and you know it. Yep. Everything you can think of that you want to do, someone has already basically done. So read about it.
Get original content for your awesome keynote then.
My content in my keynote is not original.
True.
It's not original, mate.
That's right.
Looking at things from a different point of view is definitely not original.
You're the chef.
I'm the chef, I just mixed it together and I'm telling it in a different way. That's why when I write a book, it will be called the most fraudulent book ever written. That will be my title, yes.